All right, so we are now going to discuss the section titled Legislative Powers of Congress. Okay, and I did not assign, but I will briefly talk about the fact that the Constitution has provisions in it that lay out the power that Congress has. One of the questions in the Constitution is this phrase that says they have the power to do what's necessary and proper. What is necessary and proper? There are some of these phases in our Constitution and in our Declaration of Independence that were not clear and that oftentimes are open for interpretation, which is murky water. We don't. It is nice when there's a very clear interpretation, um, and not opaque. Is that the right word? I don't know. All right. But Congress, one of the most important legislative powers Congress has is the power of the purse, which is kind of a weird phrase. Well, what that means is they have the power to decide how money is spent, and that is maybe the ultimate power. Okay, money is a huge part of our world, and control over the finances of the federal government is huge. That not only means how money is spent, but that also means how money is taken in. That means taxes. Okay, only Congress can pass a budget. Only Congress can set the tax code, and the tax code is very complex. It's hundreds of pages thick. Um, there are different tax laws for different groups. If you earn a certain amount, you have to pay a higher amount for every dollar you make past a certain amount. We have separate tax codes for individuals as we do for businesses. Um, and all of those decisions are made by Congress, including things like tax loopholes. One thing you might know is that businesses oftentimes have ways of not paying taxes, and individuals as well. I believe Amazon paid $0 in taxes last year. There have been questions about many rich people paying very little to no taxes. Why? Why are they paying a lower percentage than the teacher is? And the reason is because they have write-offs. They have these tax loopholes. Now, when we get into economics, we're going to break it down, but understand that all of that is decided by Congress, not by the president, not by the judges or the courts, but by Congress, implicitly by Congress. And how the money is then spent is up to Congress. Coining money, being able to print money.
I just saw a fat nigga on the street with a big
Congress. Congress has the power to coin money. Congress has the power to borrow money. Okay, we borrow an insane amount of money. We are crazy in debt, 20 plus trillion dollars in debt. This coronavirus thing that we're going through, we borrowed $4 trillion to try and help businesses and individuals through this tough time. And there's another bill that has been passed by the Democrats in the House that suggests we should spend another $3 trillion. The Republicans have countered with another $1 trillion, and I think they're trying to meet somewhere in the middle, although they don't seem to care to get anything done because they're all going on Thanksgiving break after today, and we won't see them for a week. But theoretically, they could still be talking when we have phones and we have Zoom. We can also do things. Now, the president does have power to declare a national emergency. Therefore, he can allocate money to certain things. President Trump declared a national emergency at the border. He took money from the military budget and gave it to the wall. Or actually, he's rebuilding the wall in places that the wall wasn't as big and strong. He's putting a big, strong wall there. Or that's what he says. It's big and strong. I don't know. I haven't been there. But then the courts can strike that down and say, no, you can't use that money because there's no true emergency, this kind of thing. In theory, only Congress has the power to declare war. But our Congress has only declared 5 wars. If you look right here, these are the wars that Congress has declared in the history of our country. The War of 1812, the war with Mexico, the war with Spain, World War I, and World War II. But you say to me, Marina, We have been in so many more wars than that, especially recently. From Korea to Vietnam to Iraq to Afghanistan to the Persian Gulf and Kuwait. Our troops are all over the world all the time in Central America. Oh my gosh, in the 80s, we were all over that place. Chile, Cuba. Why hasn't Congress voted on those? And the reason is because the president can say, there are loopholes in the law that say the president is the commander in chief, therefore he can order the military to do stuff. But that's not how it's supposed to be. In fact, in 2014, President Obama, then President Obama, had told the Syrian government that if they use chemical weapons on their people, that's a red line and we will then attack them. They did use chemical weapons on their people. But instead of attacking them directly, President Obama asked Congress to give him power to attack them, and they refused to. Therefore, he didn't attack them. If he had gotten that power from Congress, we might have started a war with Syria during that time. Why didn't Congress approve it? Could it be because they didn't want to start a war with Syria? Could it be because they didn't want the war with Syria to be on their hands? They would rather it be on the hands of the president? But these are facts that took place in 2014. So the Constitution lays out certain powers that Congress has, although presidents have found ways to work around Congress. One thing we're going to find is that starting in the late 60s and early 70s, the president seems to have, presidents of both parties have seemed to have taken more power for themselves, for their branch of government, for the executive branch, and taken power away mostly from Congress. The Constitution suggests that Congress be more powerful than the president, but most people would argue that today the president is more powerful than Congress. That is a question for the future, for you guys to answer. Should we take some power back from the executive branch and give it to the legislative branch? Specifically, these powers we discuss, powers of the purse, how to spend money, and the war powers. And then there's also questions about executive actions and this kind of thing. So you guys have big choices to make.